Welcome to Start to Finish Motherhood, a podcast for those thinking or already single mothers by choice, just looking for practical advice for navigating life's relationships. When you decide to have children on your own, it doesn't mean that you're completely alone. I'm Aisha Jenkins, and I'm partnering with you every step of your journey. Okay, so tips for planning travel with children. Planning and the actual trip itself are two totally different things. So I have 10 tips. The tip number 1, include the children in travel planning. If this is a family trip and the children are old enough, include them in the planning. They can offer some insights into some of the things that they like to do, things that they want to bring along with them on the trip, things that will make the trip memorable for them. They will be so excited and excited right along with you. And here's a snippet from that conversation. So we're going with the first villa, right? And they were psyched. Noelle was excited about the pool.
Oh, really?
And that somebody would be cooking for us.
Yes. So we have a cook and a housekeeping. So this one has how many?
I think it had 3 bedrooms. Right. She was also psyched about the second one because it had a hot tub, but I was like, that is the bathtub in the middle of the floor with a couch.
Yeah, that's so this is nice actually, and it's right next to a river of some sort.
Hopefully there's no tsunami.
No, it's a river. All right. So it looks good. It is the most expensive one out of the lot.
I know.
So this 120
I think it was like $400 a night.
divided by maybe no. Yeah. It's about $396. So I will go ahead and book this. Most likely we are going to go either 3-way because there's another family coming.
Okay. All right. Noelle will like that. Okay. Is it big enough for 3 families?
They do have kids. I don't know if they're going to come, but they're going to bring their kids, but they're quite small. Like they're teenagers already. So I will check if but then it might be too small for us if everybody's going to come.
Yeah, we'll find out.
So we're going to spend 2 days in Gaul. This villa is in Gaul. And then we're going to move to Marissa.
Okay. Let's look at those 2.
So Marissa is where we're going to be at the beach. This one's not really great. And I saw it. Didn't like it as much.
Yeah, we weren't crazy about this one.
Yeah, it's just that it's next to the beach, but I didn't like it. This one is right next to the beach. You see one. So even this one I didn't like so much. I mean, because we have a cook. So these are luxury villas in Sri Lanka, right? The other option is to get a nice hotel.
Yeah, I think over the hotels at this point. But yeah, we like the first villa in Gaul, and then in Marissa, the second one we like. So just go ahead and choose and then let us know.
You're happy with the bungalow?
I mean, the kids, I'm sure they would be happy to sleep with me anyway. Yay, vacation, little hot people.
Ooh la la. Okay, all right. I have all your details, which I'm going to share with the guide. So he'll be there to pick you up from the airport. We still haven't decided on the ticket. So we do need to finalize that a bit later today.
Okay.
I'll catch you later.
And also get them their own carry-on bags. I did backpacks so that they're able to fill it with their comfort items. And these will be things that they're responsible for. So even as I was packing our bags, the kids were putting little things in their backpacks. That's what they were responsible for. And then the rest was up to me. Tip number 2, be flexible. As we were planning the trip, myself and my friend from overseas, our dates and our accommodations kept shifting, and we also had to book our flights separately. So we booked 2 one-way tickets. So we booked our flights going separate from our flights coming. Because we were doing it so last minute, we started booking our flights at the end of June. And so that's pretty close to travel time, which was in July. So we knew already that we were playing around with more expensive flights. And this is where I had a meltdown moment. Yeah, these taxes and fees are like killing me. Like half the expenses, taxes and fees.
So which one?
For everything. Like I'm looking at our flight, like half of it is like taxes and fees. But I I digress. It is what it is. Okay. And then if you factor in the 3, 4 weeks until we were going to return, that gave us a little bit of leeway. So be flexible with your travel planning, but also I needed to balance out the price of what we were paying for and the convenience. And by far, the flight was about 2/3 of the cost of the trip. Getting there and the accommodations were fairly inexpensive. So I knew I would be traveling with my kids. And so I needed to have meal options. So that meant that we had to stay at hotels that had either an all inclusive, or I think it's called like a European meal plan. I knew that we needed to at least have breakfast and dinner if we could get it, because I needed some consistent options of food that they would actually eat. So it would have to be a variety. So I knew for about 2/3 of the trips, it would just be me and the kids. So I also knew that I would not be able to run out to a restaurant for dinner. So I needed something that was in the hotel on site and predictable. Most of the hotels that had all inclusive meal plans also had local options, and then they had continental food options. So yeah, also be flexible, because children are children and they're unpredictable. They fall, they trip on a rock, they spill things, and you already want to have it in your mind that you're going to be flexible and let the kids be kids. And that might mean cleaning up messes. And I had a few of those on the trip, and I just put it in my mind that I'm not going to make excuses for little children. And so we just cleaned up whatever we cleaned up. I cuddled whoever had the accident, and then we moved on with our trip. Okay, tip number 3, get the trip insurance, because kids are gonna be kids. And this was a big investment for me. And if I was going to have to cut the trip short, or if we missed our flights, or if something happened on our trip, I wanted to make sure that we had some coverage. So I did get the trip insurance. Tip number 4, sometimes things don't go as planned. Even no matter how well you plan everything out, it just might not happen the way you envision. So take those lemons, embrace it, and then make lemonade. Since we booked our flights separately, we booked 2 sets of one-way tickets. And we did this because we were hoping to find cheaper flights. But what we found was that anything that didn't have a layover was really expensive. And then the cheaper flight, so we had to play around with our return dates a little bit. So I had some flexibility there. And then I had to play around with not taking a direct flight, but doing a layover. Now, me personally, when I traveled as a single person, I actually preferred a layover when I was doing international trips. I know some people don't, but for me, if the trip is going lousy, I need to have a break, and I need to be able to lie flat and get good sleep. And international trips are sometimes unpredictable as well. So when we were looking for flights to return, my friend was like, "Oh, this has a really long layover." I looked at the layover options and I found one that I could actually do. So we ended up using that layover to visit another SMC friend. And I just thank goodness for all of us being flexible, because it turned out wonderful and we had a great time. And I did end up capturing a small, short episode from her as well as part of season 4. So that was great. Okay, let's see. Okay, tip number 5, run through your itinerary and talk to your children about do's and don'ts. So in my head, I knew my itinerary. I talked it over with my friend. We were also working with a driver who was going to be helping us get from place to place. And so he was aware of what our trip was. So this was a 24-day trip with lots of moving parts, and all told, we saw half the country. But we were also working with a driver who needed to be looped in, and then also build in some flexibility for the kids. So here's a snippet from that conversation. Okay. Yeah, my flight is at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, but you're arriving on the 15th. 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah. Yes, I thought it was an early flight. So I was like, yes, I have to get everything done. So of course I'm gonna lay down and take a nap, and then I'm gonna wake up and pack.
So from Colombo, I need the hotel voucher for Colombo. I'll give it to the guide because he will pick you up from the airport.
Okay.
I've given him your flight details, so he should be picking you up from the airport. You're arriving early morning at 3 o'clock in Sri Lanka. And you have a connecting flight in Abu Dhabi, right? There's some time that you have to spend.
Yes. So much has been said. So much has transpired.
3 more days and you'll be able to relax.
No, a few more days I will be on the airplane.
And then you'll be in Sri Lanka.
I know, but it's a very long time. Every step of the trip is an experience in and of itself with my children. Do I have to print out the?
Just a voucher. I mean, you can have it with you. It's just for him.
No,
Just
no. I was gonna say, do I have to print out the visa? I should
you
write in the same because I have my little travel packet.
if you're coming early morning, 3 o'clock, you booked Merino from what time? On which you sent the email to me, right?
Yeah, I feel like I should have booked it for Sunday because check-in is not until 4
Check-in is not until
or 2. Oh.
so that is not you. We have to request. So
What was it that you said? Some of the excursions.
yeah, let's go through that now. Right. So that's done. I've checked with him if he can do like an early check-in. Right. So he will do that tomorrow. For the 3rd. Now, on the right, so on the 25th, you're checking out from Norelia, right?
Right.
The train ride from Ella to the scenic ride that I was trying to get you guys on. So that's about a 2-hour ride in the train.
Okay.
And he just confirmed, he's saying, look, this is specifically made for tourists, so it's a comfortable ride. I don't think it should be that big of a problem if it is 2 hours. So he's going to drop you at the station. You will get in. So on the 26th, when you check out from Ella, you can do the train trip. And then he brings you back to Colombo.
Wait, okay. So this is all happening on the 26th. Check out of the hotel, do the train excursion, and then where's it going to leave me at?
So he's going to drop you at the station and then he's going to take the car and meet you at the destination.
Okay. Okay.
So your bags and stuff will be in the car. You guys just travel. And then you go from the train, you enjoy the train ride, and then he'll pick you up at the station.
Okay.
And then after that, you're going to travel back to Colombo. So will that be okay with you? Because it's just traveling. I think that
Yeah,
should be
it's fine.
right. Great. So that's sorted. I'll confirm that to him. 26 is the train trip in that place.
Okay.
Right. And then 27th, you'll be in Colombo. I'm coming on the 28th. That one day we'll figure out. I should be able to get like a hotel somewhere close to my place, which is also right next to the beach.
Okay.
There's a nice hotel called the Mount Lavinia Hotel. In case, I'll just send you the photo. It's a very nice place.
Okay.
And it's just right next to the beach. It has like a private beach.
Okay.
So now you're flying back on the 6th,
I'm
correct?
flying back on the 5th, the Monday.
What? Can you send me the flight details for that?
Yes.
Okay, so that's one additional day. Will you send it to my email or? Okay, so let me change my ticket as well to see if I have something similar. All right. While I do that, so 1305, my ticket progress. 1305.
Yes, baby.
Right. So have 28. So if we are doing the Arugambe, if there are enough stuff to do here, so we skip Gaul, we go straight away here and then we just stay there and then come.
Okay.
It takes to come back and go if it is worthwhile. Because
Okay.
this is really close by and there are stuff to do and we can just
Or we have 5 days or 6 days to figure out the back end of the trip. So maybe we do 3 days someplace and 3 days another place, but just give them more longer stretch to just relax.
Got it. All right.
Yeah. So we're fairly flexible. I just wanna, yeah.
Okay. And on the 5th, you're flying out.
Yes.
So check out on the 4th, we come back to Colombo. We need to figure out. So it all depends on if my availability of my house. So the first day, you're arriving at somewhere here, all the way to Colombo here, in full drive. Nothing you can do about it. Your timing is very good, so you're not going to get any traffic. You're arriving early morning. So it's just actually it's not going to be painful because there won't be any traffic for you. So maybe it'll take about 45 minutes to an hour for you to
Mhm.
reach, and then you can
Okay.
relax.
So we ran through our itinerary and then also talk to your children about do's and don'ts of international travel because there are things you just don't want to say at the airport. There are things you don't want to do at the airport. It's long flights. You don't want the kids kicking the chairs in front of them, but you do leave room for them to be kids. And so make sure that you talk to your kids. Again, they're excited and just talking to them and especially being a single parent traveling with the kids, they are such good company and they're so excited, so you can explain things and you have little helpers. So it was nice to have my oldest was almost turning 10, and so she was able to stand outside of the bathroom stall while I helped her sister. It was just nice to have that family and those extra little hands. And I will say at some point we had to do an airport run. And so I'm glad the kids were old enough to travel because we were running through the airport to catch our connecting flight in Abu Dhabi. And so, but yeah, just talk to your kids, get them on the same page. It just makes things easier. And here's a quick snippet of us planning for an unexpected gap in our travels.
So maybe my sister-in-law can come and then spend some time with you guys. My sister-in-law will come, maybe take you guys out for a meal to some places in Colombo if you want to see. Nothing crazy, just maybe.
You don't have to, it doesn't have to be too planned. We'll go wherever your sister says. And
Yeah.
she's going to bring your niece, right?
Yes.
Yep. So they will get along like peas and carrots. Let's see. Tip number 6, print out copies of your trip documentation. And for SMCs, that means also copies of your children's birth certificates, along with copies of their like passport and things of that nature. And then make sure you select flight meals for your children. So it's something that we don't always think of, but they do have kid meal options on international flights. And what that means is that the kids typically get their food first, and then it's usually kid friendly food, but really international foods, kids sometimes eat what adults eat. So we got really colorful cutlery for the kids, coloring books, and they had juice boxes and fruit cups and things of that nature. So do get the kids option for their meals. And my children were 5 and almost 10, and I got them both the kid options. And it was like almost like grown up food, but with some cute little items added on. So get the kids their food options. Tip number 7, have a strategy for packing your carry-ons. For me, I like to pack for comfort and for the unexpected things that could happen. So if your luggage gets lost and you're at a hotel for like the first couple of days of your trip, what are you going to do? And so for me, I let the kids put small toys in their backpack. I got them special new toy items because as SMCs, that's what we do. And I got them 2 little new toy items that they didn't know about. I stuck it in their bag so that they would be surprised. Also did coloring books for the children, and then they got to bring their comfort items. So we had travel pillows, empty water bottles with a filter in case we're stuck at an airport or on an airplane and need to make do with water fountains. I pack light jackets because air travel is sometimes unpredictable. So I don't want them to be too hot or too cold. And then I also packed a change of clothes. Now, this could vary. So we were traveling from a summer location to a warm location, and summer clothes are usually smaller and lighter. So I was able to pack a change of clothes for all of us. If it were winter travel, if it was winter time, I might have just packed a top and probably that's it because they're bulkier. And then going from a summer location to a summer location, I also packed a swimsuit. So if we got stuck and we had to be a day at the hotel without our luggage, we at least had swimsuits. And then non perishable snacks. And so for me, that meant things like beef jerky, some trail mix, crackers, fruit that travel well. So I just packed for the chance that something would go wrong, we would have a lack of food or our luggage got lost. but also let the kids get involved in packing their little carry-on. So we were able to do 3 carry-ons. And so I was strategic about what went in whose carry-on. So anyway, so that was my tip number 7. Tip number 8, inform your local village about your travel plans. And so for me, that meant letting my neighbor know that I would be out of town so that they were watching the house. That means letting your family know so that they know when you're leaving and when they can expect you back. And they're monitoring the flights and news about flights and things of that nature. So let them know when you're leaving, let them know when you arrive. Just let your village know about your travel plans just in case. Tip number 9, break the trip up into parts so that you don't get overwhelmed. For me, this was my first time doing international travel with my 2 children. Mentally, it's a lot for me to think about a 24-day trip in its entirety and hold it in my head. And so what I did was I broke the trip up into separate parts. The day of travel, we needed to get our Uber, we needed to make sure we had all of our bags. I had to set the alarm before I left. So that's step 1. Then once we get to the airport, getting our luggage checked, getting through the security screen and everything and onto that first flight, that's step 2. And then so on and so on. So I was able to manage my expectations and my anxiety level and emotions for each separate stage of the trip. And that kept me mindful, that kept me in the moment, that kept me flexible for the children to do what children do. Oh, also, I made sure that they had their tablets and chargers, right? So that all went into their carry on bags as part of their stuff. Okay, so I broke the trip up into parts so that I would not get overwhelmed. And then the final tip number 10 is ask for what your family needs. At multiple points throughout the trip planning and during the trip, I had to change plans and make sure that my family was taken care of based on how I travel and based on what I knew that their needs might be. I can only anticipate until this trip. And then now, after having taken this trip, I know what the kids need. But in the beginning, I'm just erring on the side of caution. And so, as you'll hear during the planning process, my friend, who is a single man, is traveling with a woman who has 2 children. And so when you're single, you can do all the hopping from place to place to place to place, and you can really pack your day. For children, you really can't do that, not at this age. And so I had to build in time for them to transition from one point, one hotel, one activity to the next. And I would recommend people who are traveling for the first time with their kids to err on the side of caution. So, yes, here is me having to be a Debbie Downer and allowed him to go on with his trip planning, but then I had to pause him.
So we basically have a good number of days.
Mhm.
So I was thinking if we should go to that place that I was talking about.
How long does the drive?
It's about 2 hours. It's a short drive.
You said it's a short drive?
Yeah, 2 hours is not too long. I mean, the Noor area is like 5 hours drive for you.
I mean, no, it's not long, but I'm just like, uh-huh.
Yeah, it's a short drive. So we'll be here somewhere around this lake, Kurulu Bay. So this is where we will do the turtle stuff. And then we are going here. From here,
Okay.
we were planning to go here. So it's like a very short drive again.
Mhm.
And that's where we're going to stay. So I was thinking, since we have like 5 nights, right?
Mhm.
Do you want to do a longer drive and go to the other side of the country? Or you're good here?
What's on the other side? Oh, you're
So
saying instead of staying in Marissa?
instead of staying in Marissa, from Colombo, from somewhere here, we can
Mhm.
drive. Even we can even decide to quit Gaul if we want to, because we have 28, 29, 30, 30. How many days do we have?
Right, because we're going Gulls are first, right?
Well, we could do Gaul because it's just 2 days anyway in that villa that you like.
Hmm.
That's the villa that you guys want to stay in, right? So we can do those 2 days in the villa, and then we still have, so because we will reach July 28th.
Mhm.
We will check into the villa. 29, we're going to stay. And on the
Mhm.
30th, to leave.
Okay.
And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 nights basically. So those 6 nights,
Hmm.
there is this huge national park in here, but you can see it's quite far from here. Okay.
How are you defining quite far? Because 2 hours to you is a very fast trip.
See, from here to here, it's quite short. It's just 2 hours, and they built this road, so it's just a very short drive. 2 hours,
Mhm.
really quickly. But from here all the way, I want to go to this place here.
We did all the stuff that I wanted to do, and we did a lot of the stuff that they wanted to do as well. Whatever hotel we stayed at had to have a pool because, worst case scenario, my children love water and water calms them and it soothes them. So, wherever we went, I knew we had to have a pool. And then I also knew that we could not do hostis type lodging. So we actually had to have safe hotels, secure hotels with good food, good water, clean, with doors that lock, and all of that stuff, just because kids and people are unpredictable. Also, during the trip, we ended up going to a location that was just not appropriate for children. And I really had to speak up then. That's my daughter's memorable part of the trip, Noelle, bless her heart. And then we also had to take an extra day at a hotel. So we did end up having to be flexible with our travel plans because I ultimately wanted my children to enjoy this trip and for it to be a core memory for them and have it inform their joy and their love of travel down the road. So I wanted to make sure that I took them into account as we experienced our epic vacation. Okay. Also, keep in mind that you're spending a lot of money not to have the trip that you envisioned. And I'm not saying be a jerk about it, but you know what your needs are and you can anticipate what your children's needs are. So speak up. If you need to slow things down, slow them down. If you need more support, more activities, like a couple of times we had to go, I stopped and I was like, the kids need to go to a park. So we found local parks where the kids could play. So it was just a lot of fun. And I'm also glad that I had people around me who supported my decisions. Now, granted, I was paying for those decisions to be supported. So, this snippet was the point in the travel planning where I had to pause everything and kind of say, let's scrap the full itinerary of plans that you have for this part of the trip and let's regroup. All right. So then, okay. So pause. Then let's scrap the plans, right? When we fly in and we stay at the Merino Beach, that's in Gulf, right? Or is it
No,
that's in Colombo?
that's in Colombo.
Okay. The kids will probably be traveled out by then. So I would rather take the longer trip and just get to one place. And then if there are smaller things over there, then do the smaller things, but have one base for that time, if that makes sense.
Okay. So like we're talking
Yeah.
about 5 nights in the same place.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll have to rethink my strategy then.
Okay.
Because in this area,
Hmm.
if we hang around in this area, let's not stay at that villa because it's quite expensive.
Okay. Wherever we stay, there should be a pool and there should be a housekeeper. There should be a pool and a cook.
Yeah, I get
But
that. Okay.
yeah. So yeah, come up with the second part of the trip. But I think the kids, they can do the bouncing around from hotel to hotel. That's fine. But I think for the end, we should wind it down because they're still kids and they'll be like, I'm bored. And at some point, I just want them to be able to do kid stuff. So they will spend time in the pool. Like, yeah.
Okay. So I think so less traveling and then just one place.
Yeah. And if there are multiple things to do in that one place, using that as our base, right? So it's like if we were home and I was like, okay, today we're going to the zoo. Maybe the next day we'll go to an amusement park. That's what I would do like at home to give them a base. But yeah.
I will check. This is the destination that I want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
We are next to a national park
Mm-hmm.
and we are next to a bay. So the beach
Mm-hmm.
will be nice here. So I will check if there are things to do in this area.
Okay.
There are more things to do where we picked already,
Mm-hmm.
like turtle watching and all some stuff.
Mm-hmm. And for kids, like things to do could be let's go do a cooking class or something. Let's go to a place that something that's cultural, but still like they will think that it's a grand thing. But for us, it's like, oh my gosh, that's like going to the park. But I know that we want to balance adult stuff with kid stuff. But I think all the traveling around 2 nights here, 3 nights there, they're going to get dysregulated.
Yeah, because you're doing this tour from Colombo, you're going to Kandy. So we're doing the long haul stuff before I come.
Right. I want you to see them at their best, not when they're like tired and cranky and brat behavior.
Right. All right. Okay. So I'll figure this out. I'll let you know
Mhm.
what's the best way to do it.
Okay. I was glad that nobody gave me the side eye, that I was able to manage my kids the way that they needed to be managed. So those are my 10 tips. In general, I have always wanted to travel with my children because it was important for me to teach them how to travel and how to not travel as entitled assholes, right? I wanted them to be good travels, people who respect the environment and respect the people, the culture, and the communities that you're traveling within. I want them to respect the people who housekeep and keep up the properties. So it was important for me to take them on their first international trip. I also wanted them to see me outside of my element because my children will tell me, Mommy, I've never seen you cry. I've never seen this side of you. I've never seen that side of you. And I do want them to see that I am human. I do want them to see that I struggle. And I want them to see how I negotiate those struggles and how I manage myself and my emotions, and then when to speak up and when not to speak up. So that was important to me. I also wanted to see them out of their regular schedule of things, their regular pace and their routine, so that I know how they travel as little people. And then as we travel more and more, I can anticipate what each of their individual needs are so that we all get to enjoy the vacation. I also wanted to challenge myself as an SMC to really see if I could do travel with children the way I envisioned it as I was contemplating becoming an SMC, right? Because we sometimes have these visions, and it's interesting now to ask myself, does the reality match the vision? I really enjoyed the trip. The children, it was a core memory for them. They enjoyed it. It was truly a wonderful trip. And there you have it. Thanks for listening to Start to Finish Motherhood with Aisha. If you want to keep the conversation going, follow Start to Finish Motherhood on Instagram or email me at aisha@starttofinishmotherhood.com. If you love this episode, please share it with anyone who's thinking of becoming a single mother by choice, anyone who's already parenting as a single mother by choice and just looking for advice on navigating it all, or a friend or family member who's looking to support someone else's single mother by choice journey. Until next time, bye now.